Hi YouTube, it's Ty, and I'm here with a new feature today, the effed up news. And I have 3 really effed up stories to get into today, so let's go on and just get straight to it, shall we? In our first story, someone flagged a video on the Tested with Ty channel. It was a review for Fox's Hell's Kitchen, and the video went up on Saturday night. And not even 20 minutes after the video was uploaded, the 27-minute video, by the way, was uploaded. The video was removed from YouTube and her channel was given a community strike. So, Ty has appealed the community strike and she's waiting on a response from YouTube, and as things stand as of now, she will not be able to live stream until January the 11th, 2019. I will keep you posted on this story as soon as I have more details. In much worse and sadder news, there's a horrible story out of Texas where 4 men are dead after shooting Saturday night in Taft, Texas. That's probably a town that you've never heard of, but it's near Corpus Christi, Texas, which is a pretty popular vacation destination, at least among Texans. I don't know how the rest of the country feels about it. But, yeah, and this was all at a toddler's birthday party, you guys, a 1-year-old's birthday party. Officials say that all of the victims are related to each other, and as is typical when these types of things happen in a small town, the neighbors are shocked that it happened where they live, and they are on edge now because one of the suspects is still at large. There were 2. Now, 20-year-old Ronnie Rodriguez was found and booked into the San Patricio County Jail. However, his father, 37-year-old Ronnie Rodriguez Sr., is still on the run. Officials are asking for the public's help in finding him. And if you happen to be watching this video and you know anything about his whereabouts or you have any information that could lead to finding him, please call 361-364-9600. That is for real. This is not a joke. I'm trying to keep it light, even though these are effed up stories. But yeah, that's serious. So I'll print that number on the screen. And lastly for today, 11 dead babies' bodies were found Friday evening at a former funeral home in Detroit. The remains were found inside of a drop-down ceiling in the former Cantrell Funeral Home building, which ironically now is being turned into a community center for children. Police were called around 5:30 p.m. on Friday, and investigators with it's the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, they shorten it to LARA, found 9 bodies in 1 cardboard box and 2 in separate caskets. But all 11 were in this drop-down ceiling. And construction workers found the bodies as they were working there, obviously renovating the funeral home into the community center. And police then ordered a search of the entire building. And thankfully, nothing else was found. An autopsy report from the Wayne County Medical Examiner is forthcoming. LARA, again, Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, shut down Cantrell Funeral Home in April of this year for multiple violations, which included improper storage of embalmed bodies. 2 of which were in advanced stage of decomposition. So you guys, I thought that this story was just extra disgusting. So what I did, I had to go back to when the story of this funeral home was being shut down back in April, because I wanted to find out what the other violations were against this funeral home. And these details are from the Detroit Free Press. From a story called, quote, "Officials, Mold-Covered Bodies Found at Detroit Funeral Home." So you can already tell this is going to be disgusting, right? I'm just going to run down a list of what the state regulators found when they inspected this funeral home. As the title said, 2 bodies covered in mold. And also let me mention that at first they were denied entry into the funeral home. The workers there would not let the inspectors come in. Obviously, they knew that they had some issues that they were trying to cover up or that they needed to cover up. So the next thing, the facial area of a third body was covered in unknown fluids. In general, quote from the report, deplorable unsanitary conditions. The embalming room was described as unsanitary and unclean, with peeling and chipping paint, water-stained walls, dirty floors, and stained protective gear. Embalmed bodies were found to be improperly stored in an unrefrigerated garage, you guys. Now, this investigation was done in April, right? I believe April 10th, but it was April for sure. And those bodies have been improperly stored since November and December. So since months before those investigators ever went there. So their license was suspended for being an imminent threat to public health and safety. And a body was kept from January 9th, 2018 until April 17th, 2018 when it was cremated. And then they were also operating with an expired prepaid funeral and cemetery sales registration. They were continuing to engage in activities requiring that registration under something called the Prepaid Act, including the sale of at least 3 prepaid contracts. And they were also found guilty of depositing at least $21,574 that they received for prepaid funeral goods and services related to 13 prepaid funeral contracts. Also, failure to deposit money with an authorized escrow agent within 30 days of receipt of the money, again under this Prepaid Act, and fraud, deceit, or dishonesty and incompetence and gross negligence and in the practice of mortuary science. So you guys, this story, I found it to be disgusting. Thankfully, I guess I can say thankfully, those babies were already deceased. I'm assuming that the babies didn't die at the funeral home, but it did make me wonder why the babies were there hidden away. And honestly, the first thing that came to my mind, it made me wonder if perhaps those families wanted those babies to be cremated, and maybe these people just gave them some random ashes and told them that their babies were cremated. That's what I wonder. So I'm hoping that, I guess, in these reports that are going to come out, these autopsy reports, that they'll find out who these babies are, who they belong to, and if charges need to be brought against these former owners and employees, that will happen. It was just such a disgusting thing to hear about. So anyway, that's the effed up news for today. Quite a good start, right? Tell me what you think about all the stories. What do you think about Ty's channel getting a community strike? How messed up is that? That's effed up, right? What do you think about the shooting at the 1-year-old's birthday party, you guys? How horrible. You know, what happened to the days where we just brought gifts to a child's birthday party? Why are there guns, at a birthday party? Was this alcohol induced? I haven't heard. I'm just suspecting, speculating, whatever you want to call it. And again, this funeral home and how these bodies are handled. I mean, thankfully, or at least as I believe as a Christian, and I'm sure we all have our different beliefs, but the soul is not with those bodies anymore. But I just think that a whole lot more care, concern, and respect needs to be shown when dealing with the dead. I mean, this is the last, ceremony that these families are entrusting, to these types of businesses. And I think that it's just grossly disgusting that this is what was going on there. So anyway, I never would have known about the story had these construction workers not found these 11 bodies. And very odd to me that once the building was sold, or that, once these people had to shut down, that they wouldn't have done what they needed to do to get rid of the babies' bodies. How long had they been there? Did all of the current workers know that these bodies were there? It brings up a whole lot more questions than answers after having heard the story. So anyway, let me know what you think about it, and let's just get a discussion going on this effed up news. I will see you all later, and free Ty. And let's just hope that I can get, or that she can get out of YouTube jail and get back to live streaming, because she does miss it. But anyway, until then, we'll just have the effed up news and just news in general. Hope you all are having a great day, having a great Monday, weekend, whenever it is that you see this, and I'll see you in the next video. Signing off. Bye-bye.